Can we talk about, let's just briefly talk about the COVID thing
Sure.
with President Trump. I know we have to.
No, it's worth. Yeah. And yeah,
Yeah.
we should talk about it.
So I just gut thoughts, first impressions. I don't watch a lot of mainstream media, as you know, anymore. I used to.
Right.
They're full on propaganda. Whatever they're telling me, I know they're trying to sell me something. So, but by virtue of being in DC over the weekend, and this is where this happened. He's at Walter Reed, and there were a lot of people there at Walk Away, some of whom went over to the vigil at Walter Reed later the Friday night, I think. And in the restaurant we were at, it was like a bar restaurant. They had different news channels up on the televisions, and so everybody's reading the chyron and reading the closed caption, like what's going on.
Right.
And just by virtue of being around that, I could tell, oh, okay, the mainstream media is basically on this alarmist kick where they're trying to freak everybody out about, oh, the president's got COVID, he's going to die. Oh my God, he's going to die. And even friends of mine who are pretty rational, but who were plugging themselves into the news this weekend were saying to me, like, oh my gosh, what do you think's going to happen? Do you think he's going to be okay? And they were getting kind of alarmed too. I don't understand that. I'm not alarmed at all. We know the survival rate. We know that the death rate is very, very small for COVID. And I just don't, supposedly he's asymptomatic. It doesn't seem like it's a bad case of it for him. And I'm not worried about him passing away unless this is like JFK and they're trying to take him out and say it was COVID. I'm worried about him being taken out by someone else, but not by COVID. I guess I'll put it that way. So I don't get the hysteria. And then what I saw that happened.
Just to be clear, he is in a higher risk group, and
he is.
He was on. There was an indication that the doctors gave him steroids, which is not generally something you do for a mild case, but could have. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's also the president, so they're going to take the utmost caution with him and give him presumably the best in treatment and preventative measures. And I guess I don't know. I have a very
I'm not super worried. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I'm not worried. But because the mainstream media spent 72 hours hyping this hysteria, because that's what they want to do, is keep you on this adrenaline hysteria drip where you're just constantly alarmist, the world's going to end, there's Nazis everywhere, and the president's going to die, and Russiagate, and, just this total, complete, overblown paranoia. Then he decided to do a drive-by. Yesterday, was it, that he drove by in a motorcade and just waved at supporters who were there to wish him well at Walter Reed and who were there with a vigil. And then what did the media do? I thought this was very telling. They freaked out. Because by virtue of him showing himself and being like, but just by driving by, you can say, oh, okay, he's allaying concerns, which is what a good leader would do. Yep. If he's doing well, let you know he's doing well. What's better than letting you see him? Physical proof, right? So he drove by, did well. They flipped out. They're so angry. They're so angry that he did the drive-by. They're trying to paint it in a negative light. And I saw someone on Twitter had a good point. They said if it had been Obama, they would have said, Obama shows strength and resilience and goes to wish his well-wishers well. Or that's a bad phrasing, but he goes to make an appearance and to calm the fears of his supporters, or calm the fears of Americans. But but because it's Trump, it's just, I don't know.
I did see reports he would even leave today. I don't know if they're true, but the hospital. But the thing that bothers me most about this is just this kind of, I hate when things in reality happen that serve to solidify stupidity. And this is one of those things to me. They're like, well, Trump didn't wear a mask, therefore he got COVID. That's the implication, right? And I just, there's two big no's to that. One is, that's not how statistics works. Even if wearing a mask did help prevent COVID, one example does not make your case for you. But the other thing that really bothers me about this is look, we don't have to question.
People, by the way, can I cut in there to give an example of that? People don't understand statistics.
Yeah, of course.
And so a good example is when 23andMe and these other DNA testing sites came out. There were people who got angry and were trying to sue because they didn't understand statistics. And they would say, hey, you told me I had only a 20% chance of developing Crohn's disease, but I have Crohn's disease.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, that's
right.
statistics.
But you have a 100% chance of retardation. So did you notice that one? Yeah, no. So they don't get stats. But here's the other thing, and because I don't want to have arguments about the effectiveness of masks or this or that, I'm going to take the mainstream mask argument. I'm going to use their own mask arguments. Let's take a look at their own mask arguments, shall we? This is from Mayo Clinic. They're defending the CDC. They're going to talk about this. This is why did the CDC say masks, not to have masks? Well, at the time, experts didn't know the extent to which COVID could spread the virus before symptoms appeared. Oh, what they're talking about is wearing masks to prevent the spread from you to other people. Not to prevent getting it, but to prevent spreading it. Different types of masks, they go into it. Surgical masks may protect others by reducing exposure to the saliva and respiratory secretions of the mask wearer. All their stuff. Asking everyone to wear cloth masks can help reduce the spread of the virus by people who have COVID but don't realize it. The mainstream narrative even, not even a counter narrative, the mainstream argument, the thing that we're just going to obey the CDC, we're going to listen to the CDC. Masks are for preventing the spread when you have it. So Trump not wearing a mask doesn't mean he doesn't get it. It means Biden gets it because Trump didn't wear a mask. That's what it means. You are retarded if you are out there saying, see, he didn't wear a mask and he got COVID. You have retardation. Congratulations, you've tested positive. That is not how masks work. That's not even how your side thinks masks work. That's not what anyone is saying about how masks work. That's not how they work. The whole argument for masks is to prevent the spread in case you are asymptomatically positive for COVID. That's the whole argument. So I guess they could complain if people at the debate got COVID and they could say, well, Trump should have worn a mask. But they can't say, see, Biden's wearing a mask and he's protected. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. That's what bothers me. And so it bothers me that there's now a bunch of mask Karens running around going, see? And they're citing these two things. Like, one, an anecdote, and two, a backwards anecdote at that, about how masks work. And they're doing it with this kind of arrogance, this like little autocratic arrogance of like, I'm right. This is I know everything. Like I don't. And these are the people that you want to vote and be in charge. This is why I hate democracy. This makes me want to hate democracy. I'm just in a mood today. Now I'm hating everything today.
I can tell.
First it was the Pope. Now it's democracy.
Go ahead. So, do you want to do some super chats? And while you're doing it, I've got a little bit of something to say about the masks since we're talking about them again.
Yeah, I'll find super chats. You start talking about the mask.
Well, we already talked about it in the last video I was on with you, where I posted that meme calling the mask a face burqa and really tapped into some people's vitriol. Wow. And it's funny because my opposition to masks is not even rooted in the arguments for or against them scientifically and whether they work or not. It's not even rooted there. My opposition to the mask, if I didn't make it clear, is rooted in the negative consequences, I think, for wearing them psychologically and culturally. So I don't think it's good for us as human beings to put these things on our faces and for kids who know nothing else to see this everywhere. I think this is hurting us. I think it's making us more compliant. I have a lot of concerns about what the masks are doing to us as a people.
My only opposition, frankly, is the mandatory nature. That's it.
Right, and the mandatory nature. That's where it's rooted. But since people got very upset with me, then I had some people who are also opposed to masks who started sending me some of the peer-reviewed studies about the efficacy of masks. And lo and behold, they're much less effective at so-called preventing the spread than I thought they would even be. So for those people who say
the virus is 100 microns wide, need we remind you?
Right. And those people who say that the ones who support the mask mandates and say they do so, say that it's rooted in preventing the spread. I don't even think you've read the studies. So how can you say that's where it's rooted? I don't think you've read the studies.
Well, Carrie, it's illegal to read the studies. What we have to do is read them and tell you what's in them. That's our job as the media.
Right.
Sorry, I
That's what they
channeled
do.
Cuomo for a second. That's what they're doing, right? That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're just what's that? What's the guy the young guy who looks like he's like my older brother? He looks ancient. Brian Stetzer. Like the guy, I'm like twice his age, and he looks like he's my older brother. He's gonna rant about it and tell you that masks are. Oh, there's a study. I don't know if he did rant. I'm just saying it comes from people like that who are telling you that the study proves blah blah blah. By the way, even the stuff that I'm reading now, even if you read this Mayo Clinic article, it says when they're trying to say, can face masks help slow the spread of the coronavirus that causes COVID? Now they're trying to debunk the idea that it can't, right? They're trying to say that's again.
Okay.
Yes, face masks, combined with other preventative measures such as frequent hand washing and social distancing, help to slow the... It's like, oh, wait, what was the rest of that? What was that little parenthetical? Oh, such as other stuff. Yeah, combined. You could say Legos combined with hand washing and sanitizer prevent COVID. It's like, yes, anything combined with other stuff that help. It's just...
There's even, I think what we'll do is we'll put some of the links to these studies in today's video description if people want to read them afterwards.
Yeah.
But one of the ones I was reading was from the CDC. Guess what? It doesn't really come out swinging in support of the mask wearing. I don't know what studies you guys are reading, and I'm sure, trust me, I'm sure there are ones that say mask wearing is effective. But are you aware there are ones, even from the CDC, that say they're not? So...
by the way, I'm not against wearing masks. I'm just against this mandatory thing and this smug attitude that these little authoritarians are taking about, you're just anti-science, you don't understand, blah, blah, blah. You know what? That's not how science works, and you don't get to say that, and you don't get to make me wear a mask. I might wear a mask at times, but it's my decision.
And here's the other thing. I think this goes back to how I don't think right and left doesn't tell me that much anymore. Right and left is increasingly meaningless. I think what's more interesting about people is whether they're authoritarian or not. And you can be authoritarian on the left or the right. It doesn't matter. And you can be opposed to authoritarianism from the left or the right. It doesn't matter. But anyway, people are trying to make this a tribal issue, a political issue, like a right and a left thing. And the media did that. Again, the media's job is to manufacture consent. And the media has been selling us a narrative and trying to get us to consent to the idea that if you oppose the mask mandates, you're on the right, and if you're for them, you're on the left. That's not true. However, people who just blindly follow the tribe, which is a lot of people, once the media starts putting that idea out there, then they just scurry along to whichever tribe they're in. Oh, I'm supposed to be over here, or I'm supposed to be over here. But it's not fundamentally true. I have conservative family members who support the mask mandates.
Of course. I have a really good friend who's conservative who is very paranoid about this virus and still wearing masks. And yeah.
Yeah, and I have hippie friends, the kind that collect crystals and stuff, who are out on the square in my small town protesting the masks.
Yeah.
Who I've run into out there. Who it's not a left-right thing, fundamentally. But they try to make it that, which bothers me. Right.
Yeah. And the other thing that is the most one of the most anti-science attitudes that I've seen, and it's been probably on both sides, although I see it a lot with the left because they catastrophize things. But you're seeing, especially with this mask thing, this idea that it's a black or white issue. Masks either prevent or don't prevent. They either help or they don't help. That's not how anything works. Everything's risk management. Like, everything is about there's some risk out there and there's ways to reduce that risk. The question is like, how much of that risk is reduced? Is it worth the inconvenience? Are there other downsides? Blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, if someone's sneezing on you, or if you're sneezing on someone and you wear a mask, you will decrease the likelihood of infecting them if you're sneezing on them and you're wearing a mask. Absolutely. The question is, do we want to live in a society in which we are constantly minimizing risk for everything? Because if that's the case, you shouldn't drive. Let's just ban cars, because cars are riskier than not mask wearing. Cars are riskier than COVID, way riskier than COVID.
Right.
And they don't have a preference for old people.
So let's do some super
all right, all right.
chats. Okay.
Beverly says black or white issue. So now Carter's bringing race into it. I see. Yes, Beverly.